I'll be explaining who I think are the weakest to strongest Royal Knights. Let me first state that some of these are just my opinion. It's difficult to decide who is the strongest because the power of a Digimon varies between stories and universes. I'll also be adding the X evolution forms on this list because they do obtain special powers, which changes the list and makes it interesting. It's difficult to rank a Digimon's strength over every single Digimon because they released this image showing how ranking a Digimon as the strongest is impossible because everyone has a weakness and can lose to someone else. It states that Blitz Greymon and High Andromon are both cyborg Digimon of similar strength, but High Andromon's attribute of advantage puts him over the edge, and Breakdramon just has so much destructive power that High Andromon cannot survive. War Greymon would beat Breakdramon with the Dramon killers, and Kintora Smart beats War Greymon because it's not a Dramon and it's too fast to hit. This shows that each one has a specific advantage over the other. It's like rock paper scissors. I expect this to be similar for the Royal Knights. Let's start with who I think is the weakest from the group. I believe it's Crusadermon X. While powerful, Crusadermon doesn't have too many crazy abilities to make it equal to the stronger Royal Knights. Digimon Cyber Sleuth does make Crusadermon seem like a big threat. It took Alphamon to defeat her. It truly shows how equal the Royal Knights are when it comes to power. For the X form, its 2 ribbon blades have been upgraded to multiple blades that make it look like it has wings. This allows it to overwhelm its opponents with many blades, and they will be cut from all directions. The blades now have amassed the power of Nightmon. This could mean that each slash has the power of an ultimate level Digimon. Crusadermon has a lot of skill. It's not confirmed, but I would like to think that from the Royal Knights, Crusadermon is the most skilled with the sword, simply because it rules over all the Knight Digimon. It seals the enemy's movements with a hurricane of rose petals generated from the core of its rose pile bunker, and precisely impales the enemy's Digicore with its rose fencer. It tries to end a fight with a precise single hit, and finally, it can combine its shield and sword to form the ultimate pile bunker, creating a shockwave that blows away any and all who stand on the battlefield. All these abilities make Crusadermon one of the stronger mega level Digimon. It's the lowest because many other Royal Knights have overpowered abilities, while Crusadermon has powerful moves. They are not that crazy of feats of power that the other Royal Knights have. It's simply average. Next up is Gankumon. This was a tough one to decide. I have not seen that much from Gankumon. In fact, I don't think he appears that much in any Digimon media, so I could be wrong with this one. I put him here because I feel like he does not have any overpowered abilities. He does not have any special Digizoid like other Royal Knights. Instead, Gankumon, like his apprentice Jesmond, has an astral companion in the form of Hinukamov, who can attack and defend with Gankumon. It's like an additional person helping him fight. For its X form, Gankumon X assimilates Hinukamov into itself. It has manifested on Gankumon's back, and Gankumon has gauntlets made from the same astral energy. They can be used as an offensive and defensive weapon. His gauntlets are quite destructive. One of his attacks have him condense the energy into its right hand, and that punch will ignore all defenses. Even a simple punch will be devastating, and he is still able to summon Hinukamov to help him with his attacks. Should Gankumon fully unleash its surging aura, then that aura will transform into wings. Its other ability allows Gankumon to flip the ground and make it as hard as Chrome Digizoid, which is the strongest metal in the digital world. But the other Royal Knights have unique Digizoids, which are superior to the normal Chrome Digizoid. So this ability is not that special. The next Digimon is Leopardmon. Normally, I would put Leopardmon as the weakest of the Royal Knights. However, because of his X form, I believe he is stronger than Crusadermon and Gankumon X. Allow me to explain. Firstly, Leopardmon is a tactician of the team. This gives him the advantage for creating complex plans and strategies. He could prepare a strategy to defeat each one of the Royal Knights. Beyond his intellect, he has the unique Leopard mode, which I'm sure is used for speed and maneuverability. The reason I put him above Crusadermon is because in his X evolution form, he has the special Digizoid. He is the only Digimon who has brown Digizoid. It is highly elastic. It enhances his flexible movements tremendously. If Leopardmon X suffers attacks from all directions simultaneously, it will completely evade them. He might be the best at dodging attacks from all the Royal Knights. Finally, its strongest attack is 1 trillion. It's a trillion stabs in 1 second to extinct the opponent. It's not 1 million, not 1 billion, but 1 trillion times a second. That has got to be the most ridiculous and crazy speed feat I have ever read about. I doubt we will ever see him perform this attack in a show simply because of how overpowered that sounds. I would certainly love to see them try to make him stab 1 trillion times a second. So, the reason why he is superior to Crusadermon X is because of his special Digizoid, which allows him to dodge attacks, and he still might be able to transform into his Leopard mode, if they ever give his X mode a Leopard form. He is the smartest of the group, so he can come up with many plans, and finally he can attack 1 trillion times a second. Gankumon X does have more power than Leopardmon X, and would severely hurt him if he even hit him once. However, thanks to the brown Digizoid, Leopardmon X excels at dodging. It's also smarter than Gankumon, and has an attack that allows him to stab 1 trillion times a second. Would Gankumon X be able to tank getting hit 1 trillion times a second? I think he would not be able to hurt Leopardmon X, and eventually those trillion slashes would defeat him. I believe this would be a very close fight. Without the X antibody form, Leopardmon would probably be the lowest on the list. The 3 Digimon I just talked about were the low tier Royal Knights, and now we are on to the mid tier members. These Digimon are similar in power, so it's difficult to judge which is the strongest. I'll first talk about them and then decide which is the strongest. First up, we have Cranium. This Digimon has the best defense from all the Royal Knights. He even has a special black Digizoid armor given to him personally by Yggdrasil for his loyalty. There has been little information given about this black Digizoid armor, so it's tough to guess how durable it truly is. He can increase his power with the X antibody, which enhances his armor to the point where regular attacks inflict damage back upon the attacker, rather than injuring Cranium itself. He also has a shield. In its normal form, he uses the Omni Shield to defend attacks in every direction, and allow him to negate any attack for just 3 seconds. This shield has upgraded thanks to the X antibody, and I'm sure he is now able to negate attacks for a longer duration. In its profile, it states that it is the strongest magic shield. However, Cranium has become so confident that he does not use his shield and simply places it on his back. This could be a big weakness, but I doubt he would be this confident when fighting another Royal Knight. For its special move, it spins its magic spear at the speed of light, reducing targets within a 3-kilometer radius to ash. It's said that those who have witnessed this technique are turned to dust without even realizing that they were attacked. Next up is Kintora Smart. It is the second fastest of the knights behind all Force Vijamon. His red Digizoid armor makes it difficult to damage him, even for many mega level Digimon. In Cyber Sleuth, he was so fast, not even Omnimon could track his movements. They needed All Force Vijamon to help them, as All Force is the fastest of the Royal Knights. He was able to freeze Gallopmon, who was unable to break out of the ice. This ability could be used to trap powerful enemies. It does not need to fight them, and defense means nothing because no one can defend against this attack. Its X form now possesses 4 arms, removing any delay between loading and firing, and thus allowing it to shoot continuously while moving at an instantaneous high speed. It would speed blitz the opponent while performing hit and run attacks. If it needs a stronger attack, it can fuse the wings on its back to make a special bow. The light arrows shot from this bow are enveloped in hellfire that burn everything to cinders. And it has improved its ice attacks. The absolute zero cold air generated by the shields equipped on each pair of its arms freeze the surface of the ground and bring all vital functions to a complete halt. This ability is stronger than the one that froze Gankumon. I don't really see how Digimon can free themselves from this attack. Next is Dinosman, who seems like a standard member with nothing special like Crusadermon, especially when you only pay attention to his anime portrayal. However, he does have something special that puts him this high on the list. His Breath of the Wyvern and Dragon Collider attacks are the most destructive attacks among the Royal Knights. Dragon Collider is so powerful that Crusadermon, Leopardmon, and Force Vijamon fled when he began to use it. Leopardmon thought that it would be impossible to survive being hit by such an attack. Breath of the Wyvern transforms his body's energy into an aura of a gigantic wyvern, which he fires as a powerful burst of energy that tears apart his surroundings and warps space and time itself in the process. And we have Dragon Collider, his most powerful attack. Dinosman emits a barrage of wyvern-shaped energy constructs that fly at the target, surrounding them and generating a vortex that collapses in on itself, detonating in a massive explosion equivalent in energy and heat to a star's core. These attacks make him a threat to the strongest Royal Knights, who are higher on this list. And that was just the power of a normal Dinosman. With the X evolution, the powers of the Wyvern have been drawn out exceptionally, making the already overpowered attacks deadlier. In the description, it states that Dinosman is a large heavyweight, so he might be one of the slower Royal Knights. However, for the X evolution, his dragon armor is mostly composed of blue Digizoid, the lightest weighing metal. It allows Dinosman to reach high altitudes in an instant with a sweep of its wings. This makes it difficult to dodge one of Dinosman's one-hit kill attacks. It also states that Jesmond X is the most skilled among the Royal Knights in aerial combat, and its move Dragon Roar fires energy shots from the palm of its hands with all the attributes of the 10 legendary warriors. Next up is a fan favourite, Gallantmon. Many people believe Gallantmon is one of the strongest Royal Knights, but that's not true. Gallantmon is powerful, but he does not have the game-breaking abilities that make him a threat to the ones higher on the list. I know he is a fan favourite, but that should not change this list's outcome. As a bearer of the digital hazard, Gallantmon is incredibly powerful. In Digimon Tamers, his alternate Digivolution, Magdamon, was going to destroy the digital world, a universe, by simply existing. Gallantmon should be capable of the same destruction. Gallantmon can increase his power and the strength of his armor, shield and lance with the X antibody. It has hybrid equipment combining red Digizoid, blue Digizoid and gold Digizoid, which are rare metals, as well as chrome Digizoid. It's the only Royal Knight to have so many Digizoids. Gallantmon X doesn't have any overpowered abilities. It mainly has high stats. However, his Crimson mode does have one powerful ability. He instantly atomizes the target and sends them to an unknown dimension that's impossible to access or leave. This should end a fight instantly if he hit the opponent once. However, we have never seen the Royal Knight Gallantmon transform into Crimson mode, and there are debates about whether the Gallantmon from Digimon Tamers is the Royal Knight Gallantmon. I guess for this video, I'll let him use the Crimson mode. So, we have Dinosman, who has the most destructive attack and could kill the others with a hit. Cranium, who has the best defense and could probably defend against any attack. Kintora Smart, who is the fastest from the four and can freeze their bodies to a point where they would stop functioning. And Gallantmon, who has the best stats and has an ability that sends someone to another dimension. They could each defeat one another, and choosing who is stronger would be tough, if not impossible. It's like the image I showed you guys in the beginning of the video. Could Cranium defend against Dinosman's attack? Kintora Smart has beaten Gallantmon and could probably freeze Cranium, negating his defense. Finally, Dinosman can kill everyone with its best attack. I'll put all these guys as equal, but who do you guys think is the strongest from these four? So we have covered the 3 Digimon who are the low tiers. Then we have the ones in the middle who are all equal. Now I'll be discussing the top tiers, the strongest from the group with hacks abilities. And the first one will be Magdamon. I'm sure many people will dislike this choice and believe Gallantmon should be higher on the list. And I can understand why, but first hear me out. I believe many people underestimate Magdamon because he is an armor level Digimon. Sometimes levels don't matter for special Digimon. Loosemon and Arcadiamon are rookie level Digimon, yet they're both able to kill mega level Digimon. And once Magdamon gains the X antibody, he is a mega level. Magdamon has the power of miracles. Even if the opponent in front of him is more powerful, Magdamon will be able to win the battle with a miracle. He is so lucky that he can warp reality to make sure he wins. Magdamon X's armor gets harder as it fights until it literally becomes completely invulnerable. It also has miracle creation. Due to the properties of the DG Egg of Miracles, Magdamon has a miraculous ability to overcome any predicament placed before him, thus enacting a miracle. As a result, a series of coincidences will occur that will guarantee Magdamon's victory no matter what odds he faces. Magdamon will always be lucky. His power is to generate every miracle he needs to overcome his foe, meaning that the universe caves to his need to win, creating a series of coincidences that lead to his victory. No matter what kind of predicament those who acquire the power of the Digi Egg of Miracles fall into, they're able to overcome it through the miraculous power. He basically has the power of plot armor. In any show, we know the main character will always succeed because of plot armor. Well, imagine Magdamon X having the same plot armor like other main characters. He will always find a way to win a fight. He also gains the ability to temporarily transform into Gold Digizoid, which envelops its entire body in a golden glow. Not only does it raise its physical defense, it also bestows a state of absolute defense that is capable of resisting even data disintegrating type of attacks. Gankumon Crimson Mode's disintegration attack is useless against Magdamon X. When in the Gold Digizoid state, its properties are similar to those of Hanglong ore, which boasts unparalleled absolute hardness, and this ore was resilient enough to repel any and all of Lucimon's attacks. Also, Magdamon's Chrome Digizoid armor grows stronger the more it is tempered with. One of its signature attacks is a mini Big Bam. He rapidly compresses space, then immediately explosively expands it, sweeping away surrounding enemies with the golden laser beam. I think all this is enough to prove why Magdamon X deserves this spot. The next Digimon is Jesmond X. I believe he has now surpassed his mentor, Gankumon. His X form specializes in offense, and it has turned the armor covering its body into blades. The multiple blades it has equipped are all capable of independent movement, allowing Jesmond X to overwhelm the opponent. This is far superior to Crusadermon's ribbon blades. Also, its 3 programs have all unified into 2 arms. He can shoot these arms and make them punch the opponent repeatedly. This attack is similar to Gankumon's, and it makes Gankumon proud, so this could be superior to Gankumon's punches. The student always surpasses the teacher. While the arms are overwhelming the enemy, Jesmond could stab them with his 2 greatswords. He could also use his multiple blades. I guess Jesmond X's style is to overwhelm the opponent with pressure from his attacks. He is one of the few Royal Knights to have a special overpowered ability. His ability is called OS Generics. I personally believe this ability makes him be above Dinosman, Gankumon, and the rest who are lower on this list. This ability enables him to temporarily rewrite its own data and perform actions that transcend the laws of nature, which leave its physical abilities unbound by the laws of the digital world, allowing Jesmond to overpower any enemy without taking a single scratch. This ability enables him to temporarily rewrite its own data and perform actions that transcend the laws of nature, which leaves its physical abilities unbound by the laws of the digital world, allowing Jesmond to overpower any enemy without taking a single scratch. What this means is that only a reality warper or a Digimon so powerful that such restrictions like reality warping don't bother them can hurt Jesmond, and that Jesmond uses a form of reality warping targeting at himself. He is no longer part of reality, and the laws of the digital world don't work on him anymore. He becomes impossible to harm, and he is also able to set his damage output to 100% of the target's health to defeat a target in a single blow. Imagine if you were playing a game and you were able to add a cheat code that makes you lose no health from any enemy, and you were able to do 9999 attack or a hit that would just one hit KO the enemy. This would end all battles. And he uses the OS generic in its normal form. I'm sure this ability was upgraded in its X form. He also obtained a new ability which can only be used in its X form. It now has a special sword inside its chest called the Holy Conqueror Sword. It's his non-lethal trump card. If he is able to cut an opponent with the sword, then it destroys the opponent's fighting spirit, leaving them unable to battle. This sword is the opposite of Omnimon X's Old Elite. That sword cuts and erases the enemy, while this one cuts and simply stops the fight. I wonder if Jesmond is a pacifist that dislikes fighting. Both abilities are dangerous and could end a fight. Now, I wonder if this Holy Conqueror's sword has any limitations. Would it work against a Royal Knight? With all these abilities, I believe he is far superior to the mid-tier group, such as Dinosman, Gallantmon, Cranium, and Kintora Smart. They would still give him a bit of a challenge, but he would win. While I did put him above Magdamon, I believe it would be a very close fight, and I'm not sure who exactly would come out as a victor, simply because Magdamon has plot armor, which allows any main character to survive impossible odds and beat the opponent. So in a sense, Magdamon could beat him. However, I put him above Magdamon simply because of the Holy Conqueror sword and how it could end a fight. But then you can get into another debate with how Magdamon X's armor becomes so hard that no attacks can hurt it. I might change my opinion in the future between these two. And next up is Omnimon. I've talked a lot about Omnimon's power in other videos, and I'm sure you all know just how powerful Omnimon X truly is. He has the Omega Inforce, granting him limitless stamina and the ability to spam his attacks without getting tired, and the ability to see into the future, allowing him to always be one step ahead of his opponents. Combining that with All Delete, which allows him to utterly erase anything that the blade comes into contact with, bypassing all forms of durability and effectively wiping the victim from existence. Many people believe All Delete can reset reality, but that is not the case. He was only able to do this by stabbing Yggdrasil. I believe any other Digimon could have resetted reality if they destroyed Yggdrasil as well. So it's not because of All Delete that Omnimon was able to reset reality, but simply because he just destroyed Yggdrasil in its defenseless state. It was difficult to decide who was superior, Omnimon X or Jesmond X. Both have blades that perform the opposite effect. Again, it's a very close fight. Omnimon cannot hurt Jesmond, and if he gets hit, he will no longer wish to fight, or is killed from a one-hit attack. However, he will never be tired and could see the future, and he could use his All Delete to try and end the fight. I'm only putting him above Jesmond X. The only reason I'm putting Omnimon above Jesmond is simply because his future sight would allow him to see what Jesmond X would do. However, seeing into the future doesn't mean you would be able to stop the attack. I just don't know how well Jesmond X's Conqueror Sword ability would work against a Royal Knight. The next up on the list is All Force Vijamon. When it comes to the speedsters of the group, Kintora Smart and All Force Vijamon are the fastest of the Royal Knights. And according to Omnimon himself, Kintora Smart's speed is so great that the other Royal Knights could only think of one day reaching his speed. All Force Vijamon has an even more insane level of speed, as none of the Royal Knights were able to follow his movements. All Force Vijamon is one of the few Digimon to have a special ability. He has the power of the All Force, which has been drawn out further in his X form. The All Force has remarkable healing abilities, so it instantly self-recovers from any damage. The All Force is powerful enough to rewrite the user's 1s and 0s faster than a direct deletion attack can keep up with. That means he can regenerate faster than instant death. It's literally impossible to kill him without negating his regeneration, which none of the Royal Knights are able to do. And that's not even going into its future mode, which makes All Force Vijamon strong enough to defeat the second or first strongest of the Demon Lords, Daemon Super Ultimate. All Force Vijamon X was also able to defeat Daemon X, who has an ability that would make it difficult for many of the Royal Knights to stop. Yet, All Force Vijamon X was able to do it by himself. He also has his own specific fighting style. The profile states that if you catch sight of All Force Vijamon briefly and attack it, you will immediately suffer a counter attack with 100% of its power. This would make All Force Vijamon a counter striker. All Force Vijamon is able to outlast any Digimon. He's the single hardest member of the Royal Knights to put down. All Force Vijamon will continue to regenerate whether or not there's anything left of him. He also has his impressive shield, which easily blocked attacks from Daemon Super Ultimate. Now, I understand why people might be furious with me having him above Omnimon X, but hear me out. He was able to regenerate from a one-shot kill move similar to Omnimon's All Delete, and Omnimon was unable to track Kintora Smart's movements, and All Force Vijamon is faster than Kintora Smart. Also, All Force Vijamon was easily able to deal with Omnimon, Daemon Super Ultimate, and Daemon X. The only thing that Omnimon has that can help it in this fight is the Omega Inforce, which allows him to have unlimited stamina and see into the future. But will he be able to dodge attacks that he cannot keep up with? Omnimon can see the future, but All Force Vijamon can move so fast that I doubt Omnimon would be able to react in time. Because of all of this, I do believe he is superior to Omnimon X. The next Digimon is Exomon. This one might be a surprise to some. Similar to Omnimon, Exomon is the Jogrus of two Digimon. He is a being which stands at the top of all dragon Digimon and is the emperor of all dragon type Digimon. In Digimon, the higher the data, the stronger the Digimon, and Exomon has the most data from all the Royal Knights. It is also the biggest from the group. It possesses unique wings that are composed entirely of chrome Digizoid, and they have their own will. They are sentient. It can use the wings as a shield, which defends Exomon. It also has a gigantic lance, Amberos, which is loaded with special shells stocked with viruses, which possess various effects, so Exomon's attacks are quite diverse. Exomon has not appeared in any show or comic. He has one big appearance in the game Cyber Sleuth. Earlier in this video, I talked about how in different Digimon media they change who is the strongest. Well, in Cyber Sleuth it is stated that Exomon is the strongest Royal Knight with the greatest physical strength. You have to fight him twice to win, and you are aided by Magdamon, Gallantmon, Jesmond or Force Vijamon, Alphamon, and Omnimon. Exomon was already weakened from the Eaters, and yet his strength was so great that it took the combined power of the Royal Knights to even try and stop him. And he wins the first fight, even though he is exhausted and weakened. I guess it makes sense why he is the strongest. The Royal Knights are a group inspired by King Arthur's Knights of the Round Table, and Exomon is King Arthur. His wings are Excalibur and Calderflit, which are Arthur's swords, and his attack is Pendragon Glory. He also has the largest attack range, as he can attack from outside the atmosphere. And that was just a normal Exomon. For its X form, it becomes more like a Holy Knight type wearing a helmet and armor. It overflows with Dragon type and Holy Knight type power, which swirls creating dragonic plasma, and the high energy possesses their own will. The amount of energy it releases varies depending on how strong the opponent is. His attacks are Avalon's Gate. It stabs the opponent with Amberos and explodes all of its special shells, annihilating them from within. Pendragon Glory, it rockets up to the exosphere and shoots a high-powered laser. Dragonic Impact, it dives from the exosphere and performs a ramming attack shrouded in heat from the friction with the atmosphere. Judging from his size, and with him just rushing from the atmosphere, this would probably cause a gigantic shockwave. Also, 12 lightning swords appear from the lightning that falls from its dragonic plasma, which it fires at the enemy. It can shoot dragonic plasma inside its enemies, and none of them can withstand it. Overall, all of this just proves how powerful Exomon truly is, and I truly believe he is the second strongest of the Royal Knights. And finally, surprise surprise, we have Alphamon. I bet everyone was expecting him. He has the most broken abilities, and I've talked about him in other videos, so I won't go in depth. I'll just talk about his Alpha Inforce. This ability allows him to repeat his actions as many times as he desires, for as long as he desires. The ability allows Alphamon to redo his attacks an infinite number of times in an instant. So whenever he is defeated, he simply activates the ability and starts the fight again. Alphamon can summon a giant monster from another realm. He can combine with Oryuken to become Alphamon Oryuken mode. He can even seal an opponent away in another dimension. At the end of the day, each Royal Knight is simply overpowered. Who do you think is superior? Omnimon X, who has all delete, or Magdamon X, whose armor defends against disintegration and deletion attacks, and who is really lucky? The fight is not as easy as it seems, and perhaps Magdamon could win sometimes. This would be the end of the video if there wasn't another new Digimon revealed, and this was Jasmon GX. This is the final form of Jesmon, who absorbed the powers of Gankumon, similar to Imperial Dramon Paladin mode. Jasmon GX has an ability called Knight's Intruder. Jesmon turns itself into the Knight's Intruder's spiritual vessel. By concentrating the energy of the Royal Knights, it becomes an assault sword of judgment that instantly erases opponents no matter how strong they are. It was able to kill Agudamon X, a Digimon who Alphamon X and Omnimon X could not defeat. None of the Royal Knights or all the other Digimon in the digital world were able to hurt Agudamon X. Yet Jesmond GX used its final move to do it. However, it did take the powers of all the other Royal Knights to kill Jesmond X. So, what do you guys think? Do you think Jesmon GX is the strongest on the list? And that's the end of the video. I'm sorry for not consistently uploading videos. I'll probably make an update video in the future about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It took a while. I wanted to make sure I got my facts right a bit. I've been working on my project, which is gonna be released probably next month. I've been working on that for a year now. It's crazy. Anyways, I hope you guys support that, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye. Hi guys. Many of you know that I have been making a story. I've had help from a great artist, Tidal Shell, who drew everything. In this story, there will be 5 parts, and part 1 has been drawn, while the other parts have been all planned out. Here are a couple of images of part 1. Now, I'll be uploading this on YouTube as a motion comic. I've spent a long time on this project. It's almost been 2 years, and all I ask is if you guys could simply watch part 1 when it gets released. I would truly appreciate it. I'll be making a couple of videos with this message at the end, and hopefully I can convince many of you to check out the story. Thank you, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.